Hey guys, hope you all have been well. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do kind of a review of 2020 in makeup products, and not necessarily things that I bought because I did my 2020 purchases series, but more so releases of 2020 that just kind of blew my mind a little bit. Maybe it was a purchase I really wanted to make, but for one reason or another I wasn't able to, but they kind of stayed in my mind for a very long time and probably still think of it till this day. But also some purchases that I did end up making in 2020 because I was just that excited about them. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I hope you decide to stay tuned because we're gonna get straight into the video. So the first product is a purchase that I did make, and it was the Pat McGrath Divine Rose 2 palette. This happened earlier in the year. I want to say January, February, when it was released. For a while I knew I wanted to try Pat McGrath, but there wasn't a palette that kind of sold me. I am a very basic eyeshadow user. I don't go too crazy with a lot of my purchases. Maybe the palette might have like a color or two, but it's very rare that I spend money on something that is majority colors that are not so much my preferences. Even when the photos of Divine Rose 2 came out, I still wasn't sold on it, but given that I just came out of a no buy, I felt that that was really suppressing a lot of my urge to buy it. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized, like, man, I really want to try this palette. This is the palette out of all the ones I've seen so far, this one makes the most sense for me. I really want to get it. So I ended up purchasing it, and from there I was like, I was sold on Pat McGrath. Even though it was so expensive, it's still so expensive, I felt like it was worth it for me. From there I got the Celestial Divinity, I got the Bronze Seduction, I got the Sublime Mothership 2, that's what it's called, whatever that name is. And then I got the original Divine Rose. So it kind of trickled in 2020 overall. Just Pat McGrath has blown me away, but it all started with the Divine Rose 2. Next up we have Natasha Denona, and this is a product I don't own, but I still think about it. And this is the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude highlighter, I Need a Glow, something like that. But it's her newest highlighter release, and I still really want it. I haven't purchased it because I don't have access to a Sephora, and if I'm being completely like transparent with you guys, I would have purchased the Natasha Denona one rather than the Charlotte Tilbury, which I ended up purchasing. Charlotte Tilbury one is not a bad highlighter at all. I really do like it, but if I had to pick between the two, Natasha Denona was pulling me a little bit more, and it's still pulling at my heartstrings. But I wanted to ask, for those of you who have tried the ColourPop Wisp Super Shock cheek product, I don't think it'll be the same formula, but let me know if it's kind of close in color. Judging from the way that it looks, the color seems kind of similar. So if that's the case, that might kind of help me push back a little bit on wanting that highlighter, because till this day I still have it in my cart and I still think about it. I think out of all the highlighter releases of this year, that one has definitely like stayed in my mind, almost kind of at a similar capacity to when I wanted the Fenty Kilowatt highlighter in Me, Money and Hustler Baby. I really wanted that highlighter and it took me years to get it. I think this Natasha Denona one is limited edition, just like the Amrezy, and I really wanted that one, but now that kind of one has faded away, so I'm hoping that's what's gonna happen with Natasha Denona, because I really don't need another highlighter, but it is stuck in my brain. It was just the highlighter release of 2020 for me. Next up we have Fenty Beauty, and I'm gonna go with their cream blushes and bronzing products. When that came out, that was insane. People were ready to put them in their cart and purchase them, and I was on the same boat. But again, Sephora, me, we don't go together. So that was basically just, it was very far-fetched for me. But I remember the hype that that got. I think it was maybe 5-6 months ago at this point, but the hype on those products for this year, I think it was probably one of the most like hyped releases of 2020, if I'm not mistaken. I really feel like when that was announced, people were ready. The color range that she did was really good. There were different color stories and they were unique from each other. Sometimes with blushes you see that the color may just be a shade or two lighter or darker, but with her, she took it with the color extreme. So she did a lot of different colors, and so there was a wider variety to play with. Now I was a lot more excited with the blushes. So when it comes to the contour products, I don't know too much about it, but what I do know is that quite a few people that I watch here on YouTube still go back to that product and really do enjoy it. And I think what was really nice to see with that release was that she did bronzers and she did contour shades. So people that wanted to try the products for different reasons because they aren't the same thing, they had the option to do so. And that's what I think Fenty does well, is that they really think about their releases. I don't know if I can say that about their eyeshadows, to be honest, but when it comes to their base products and color products for the face, I think they do such a good job thinking the bigger picture. So cream products for Fenty in 2020, definitely one of the hypes of the year. The next two I'm going to be talking about are full releases, and the first one being Makeup by Mario. He is a household name in the beauty community. Everybody pretty much knows who he is. He has done some of the most well-known makeup looks, makeup styles that we know about, and we've seen him do collabs with other people, but never has he come out with his own brand. And this year he did. A lot of people had bought into this collection, wanted to review it. I watched a ton. To see him finally put his name to a brand and come out with things entirely through his own creative genius, I think was really exciting. For the most part, it was kind of either or when it came to the reviews of the product, but to say that people were not excited at the beginning at the idea of him coming out with a makeup line in 2020, everybody was excited. Everyone was excited to see what he was going to be putting out. And what I've noticed, if I'm not mistaken, this is just based on the videos that I've seen, I noticed that a lot of the makeup artists, the ones that actually like have clients and do makeup as a profession, they seem to be really enjoying the products more. And I think that might be because that's what his line is geared towards, like makeup artists, the professionals, which is basically himself. So I kind of see that logic, and for us everyday consumers, that's just not ideal. So that may be why it is the way it is. It's sold in Sephora for everyday consumers, but it seems a little bit more for the professional world. But just to see him put out his products, put a stamp of approval on it from start to finish, I was just so excited. When I heard he was releasing his product line, I was, oh my gosh, it's finally happening. And the second brand is Rare Beauty. When Selena Gomez announced that she was coming out with a makeup line, I know that I wasn't in the minority when you were like scratching your head a little bit, like, why is Selena Gomez coming out with a makeup line? When you hear Selena Gomez, your first thought isn't, you know, makeup. But boy, was I wrong. There are a couple products in her line that I really want to try, and overall the consensus seems to be that her releases were pretty good. The foundation, the concealers, the lip products, the cheek products, the highlighter, there's just, overall it's a good feel. And to do decent at your first release is success in the beauty industry, because you can like make it or break it on your first launch. I want to try those blushes. I hear they're very pigmented, but I've been kind of dabbling into like cream blushes. That's what I have on today, and I've kind of been obsessed. And so I do want to try those liquid ones, and the highlighter, the liquid highlighter, I really want to get my hands on one of those. So hopefully when I get to a Sephora, get a chance to go there, that'll definitely be one of the ones I pick up. But Selena Gomez coming through in 2020, I think she had a pretty successful release if you ask me. Patrick Ta and the blush duos, the cream and powder duos. When that came out, I think a lot of people felt the excitement that I felt, but more so speaking for myself, I was so excited. I love blush, and the fact that he put two of them together in one single compact was pure genius. I could not believe it when it came out, and I remember finding every which way, like how can I purchase this? So when my brother was gonna send stuff to my mom, I said now is the time, and I ended up purchasing it. And I think his method of doing powder and then cream, he's onto something there. I kind of like it. But that release, for me, that was actually one of the biggest releases, the ones that I was most excited about of 2020, because I love blush and he put cream and powder together in one compact. Thank you, Patrick Ta. Next one is a pricey product. Many of these are actually, these are pretty much Sephora releases, but the Gucci bronzer. Tell me that when you saw that compact, you weren't like jaw-dropping. That compact alone, it could have been empty, and I would have thought, at least I would have thought of thinking, maybe I should buy that. It is so beautiful. Gucci does not come up with makeup, at least makeup that we talk about here in this community. We don't talk about Gucci. But when the teaser for that bronzer came out, I, along with many others in the community, was just, what? It is gorgeous, and I'm shocked that the color selection was pretty good. And from the reviews that I watched, again, I've watched many, they say the bronzer is good. So the packaging is just perfection, and then the product is good. That is a winning deal. Gucci, who would have thought Gucci, out of all the brands, the beauty brands out there, Gucci would come out with a banger in 2020. And coming in a close second, probably not even like second, 1.5, was the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer release. I know for sure that that probably has better reviews. I think more people like the Charlotte Tilbury one. But when it comes to aesthetics, Gucci got me on that one. Just overall beauty. It's such a beautiful compact. We have Natasha Denona again, and this is a double whammy. She came out with the bronze and the Glam palette. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think up until now, those were the most exciting releases that she has done. And here's why I'm saying that. The bronze palette and the Glam palette, you have the warm and you have the cool option. And these palettes overall have a theme of wearable. Air quotes because it's subjective, but you can look at the palette and there's nothing that just screams, I'm the pop of color. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of her palettes have that, with the exception of the Bibo, which I think is an all mattes palette, but this was a variety of different shades. And on top of that, it wasn't the $129 price point. So I think she did very well. I'm pretty sure she sold a lot of palettes this year. She also did that trichrome palette, but that's one of those expensive bits. So having to pay, I think, just about $70 for a Natasha Denona palette, and it's cohesive, and you have the option to have the warm version and the cool tone. I really thought she did phenomenal this year with her eyeshadow releases, and I'm going to bet, I'm betting on it, that this was probably the most she's ever sold with her eyeshadows this year, tops all of them. And I'm pretty sure predominantly because of those two releases. They were genius, and I still want that bronze one. But I won't be getting it because I have all of those shades already. It's just, it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful palette, and you look at the price tag and it doesn't make you want to just fall down and die. And lastly, this is just a kind of fun bit at the end here, but skincare products. I'm not gonna say specifically this product, it's this ingredient. If the product has CBD, hyaluronic acid, and includes sunscreen, then you probably bought it. I think for CBD that was kind of starting in 2019 and it trickled and continued into 2020, but CBD as an ingredient is still like a major hit in the community. People just, they like CBD. Hyaluronic acid, you cannot argue with me on this one. This year was the year of hyaluronic acid. No one really talked about HA last year, but this year everyone was all about hyaluronic acid. I'm sure many of us still don't know what it is. We probably know what it does and that's about it, but still we think hyaluronic acid, I need to purchase that because it's going to be good for my skin. And sunscreen. Sunscreen has always been a thing, but for the past like year or so, it's kind of been like you're pushing sunscreen. You know, if something doesn't have sunscreen, then you needed to buy separate sunscreen because you have to put sunscreen on, even though most of us are staying indoors. I admit I even bought sunscreen this year. I'm not really great at remembering to do that because it's been a while since I've had a skincare routine, but I'm part of the group that sold into, you know, having sunscreen all the time. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I really do hope that you enjoyed it, and maybe if you wanted to share your own exciting products of 2020, please leave them down below. I love reading your comments. I read all of them, and maybe we can start some fun conversations. If you like this makeup look, go ahead and check me out on Instagram. First link in the description box down below, where I will post a photo of this makeup look along with all the products in the caption. Till the next video, I hope you all are doing well, taking great care of yourselves. I will see you all next time. Bye guys. Happy holidays. Woohoo!